And we're live on YouTube. What's up with that? Hey, David. How's
Hello.
it going? We're
It's
only
all
a
right.
little late of a start, but that's okay. That's okay. You gotta wait for the
Yeah.
good things in life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally my fault.
Well, not entirely. I mean, how did you know a software update was gonna goof up your software, Who's to
I
know
had a
that's
gut
gonna
feeling.
happen?
I don't think gut feelings really work, but I had a gut feeling.
All right, fair enough. So, with that being said, new server, who this? New name of the show, who this? If you don't get that joke, just forget about it. It's not important. If you even realized that was a joke. But, anyways, the new name of the show is The Thought Process. It took us several hours to figure that out, so I hope you guys have a little appreciation for that. We had some terrible name ideas for a little while, and I'm glad we came up with one that wasn't terrible. Well, maybe it is, but it's all right. I
Yeah.
like it. I like
Better than the other ones.
So,
Yeah. Maybe we'll go do a review show of that one day. Um, but go on.
so with that being said, we're in a new server that lots of fresh faces, which I love to see. And what we're doing here, the show's called The Thought Process, and you can raise your hand, and we'll bring you up on stage. And once you're on stage, we have a little chat. We'll talk about something you think is true, something you think should be a certain way, or and talk about how you got there, why it's important to you, and just have a lovely conversation about it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Got anything to add to that, David?
Um, so far, I've really enjoyed doing this with people. I think it's an interesting. Like I appreciate the way that you'll conversate with me and everyone else in a way that will active actively listening, trying to understand how we can get to where the person's at, as opposed to just trying to shut down uh, little talking points or little snippets and say, "Oh, that part is wrong. I know that's wrong." It's like kind of building from the ground up in a lot of ways, and I really appreciate that. That's one of the reasons I have this cardboard cutout. It's that this is Two-Day David. He was born yesterday. I walk around and do interviews with people and say, "Hey, what's something important you wish other people knew? Can you explain it to a guy who was born yesterday?" And that's where the name comes from. And I'm very excited for this new server.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I I just want to kind of state that what we're doing here is not a debate. We're not trying to make a point, make a counterpoint, uh, you know, and try to win. Winning is not something that we're trying to do. There's no winners or losers here. I think the real winners are the people who reevaluate their position potentially or have a lovely, cordial conversation. I think those are the only winners, and hopefully nobody loses. I don't know how you could actually lose. Maybe if you lose your temper and act a fool, then maybe you're a loser. Then I don't know, but yeah, we're
Although
just.
it might be me.
I think that's only been the case maybe one time. I'll say maybe once.
Great.
Well, without further ado, you can raise your hand, and we will bring you up on stage. We got a person with their hand up.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And to answer one of the questions that's down in the chat, is the YouTube channel public? Yes, it is. It
Mm-hmm.
is public. Hello
Oh, I'm
there.
sorry. What's the vibe? What do you want to ask? Should I ask something, or you guys are gonna ask something?
What's up to you? We have these kind of conversations. What's something important to you that you wish other people understood or believed, and maybe we can sort out how we can understand it too.
Okay. What do I feel like people should believe or should understand? Is that the narrative, the rhetoric, whatever?
Sure, you could answer the
Yeah.
question in that manner. Absolutely.
Okay. Wait, I'm so sorry. Am I making the question, or are you making the question?
We're curious what's important to you.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I
what's
guess
important
I
to
guess
me? Okay. Okay, gays are not out here to harm people. Okay, we are here to we're just alive. We're just chilling. Look, we're chill, kill, and fucking bill. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse. I'm sorry. We're chill, kill, and billing. We're chilling, and it's really rude for people to come up in here and say like we are trying to, ruin families, ruin cultures, and blah blah blah. And it's like we are just here to thrive and just have our good time. If you're not gay, you're not gay, whatever. But like, it's just like leave us alone. Like we don't have anything to do with anything. But I feel like people put us in this little box, in this like little propaganda box that they want to put us in, and it's just like we really be chilling on our side, like you know you guys understand, we be chilling on our side, we don't really do anything, like. And you know what, we gays, and we very much liberals, I'm not saying gays are liberals, but like a lot of gays are liberals, right? They very much support the Palestinian movement, even though the Muslims, they do not support us. That's whatever. But we don't condone colonization. That's one thing. We do not support and condone colonization, especially in America. And I feel like that's just the truth of the matter, right? Like I feel like a lot of Americans really do not like the idea of colonization, and just especially that, right? So it just kind of irritates me when people are like, the gays are out here trying to ruin tradition and blah blah blah. Like we're just thriving. Like leave us alone. Like, we're just here. And it's because I join these conversations all the time, and there's always somebody religious or whatever. They're in my face and they're like, these damn gays, these homosexuals, and I'm like, damn, like I just joined. I don't want to hear it. Not me.
yeah. I what you
Like,
first said, with the gays and just chilling, I think that really resonates with me. I think I agree with you. I think that people who like the same sex, that harm
yeah,
people, it's just who they are, right? That's kind of what you were saying.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Like,
cool.
like the Catholics against the Muslims, or the like etc. It's like people who believe in different understandings of life. It's like you don't have to be so aggressive towards each other. Okay, we gays understand that like Muslims do not like the gays. We know that. But do we give a fuck? No, because we're still sitting here, a lot of us liberals, a lot of us liberal Americans, supporting the Palestinian movement. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's, I think that's a big indicator of like, you know what I mean? I think that's a big indicator of like where
Of how
we
much
are
you
in the
care.
subject and the matter. Yeah, of course, because we don't, we, of course, we don't like that the Muslims do not like us. We don't think about that. But I feel like in that situation, it's like, we do not like colonization. I don't think anybody likes colonization, right? Yes or no? I think that's
I
just generally I think that's a bad practice, a bad idea, whatever you want to call it. Like I think that's just a bad idea, bad practice, whatever. Like I don't like the idea of colonization. I'm sure a lot of the American people do not like the idea of colonization. So I just feel like at that point, it's like we support you guys, even if you guys don't support the gays. I feel like we still support the Palestinians, even if they're Muslim, even if they hate the gays, whatever they want to hate is whatever. But we gays, we liberals, we whatever, we Americans are gonna keep supporting the Palestinian people because we do not like colonization. That's it.
You want to talk a little bit more about Palestine and kind of the deeper
Oh,
nuances of why you support them?
Well, it's because listen, it's because Palestinians. I've understand that they've been there for hundreds and thousands of years, and whatever rhetoric, whatever narrative that people want to impose on me that they haven't, or like the Jewish community, they believe that it belongs to them. I don't dictate, I don't believe, I don't, it's whatever. But I feel like in the matter of fact, it's like Palestinians have been there forever. And even in the old like testaments, even in the Bibles, like it has been saying that like Palestinian people have been thriving there forever. So you know, like the the Israelis, the Zionists, whatever you want to call them, they've been surfacing since like World War II. They've been surfacing. And I don't want to get too much into politics. I'm not sure if you guys do politics in this chat or whatever, but I feel like it's just not a right narrative to push out that like, like Americans are right about the certain subject. It's just not right. I feel like like it's colonization is just not right. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Colonization is just not right. And like,
Can you
the
define
Muslims
colonization for everybody to be on the same page?
oh, well, okay. Um I don't know what it is in Google terms, but I know it's just a certain race of people with higher power taking over another specific race of people with lesser power and taking over their country and their government and etc. So listen, I'm not the most politically educated, the most scientifically educated, but I just understand that like that's just my definition as a person, not like I'm searching on Google or anything.
Yeah, no problem. We're not trying to beat you up here, so yeah, we're just
Okay.
trying to talk about what you think. So I think that's a great answer. As long
That's just yeah. I've understand that the Palestinians have been there forever. So for the Zionist Israelites, whatever, they're taking over the country since like World War II. I just don't. We've been understood this. We've been seeing it.
Is
I
there
don't think it's a good idea.
anything that you could learn about the situation that would make it like first, how confident are you that they're do you feel as it is like uh a like a 99% right, 1% wrong situation, or
Well, listen, I understand that like they both believe in the Bibles they believe in, and I understand like in the Jewish Bible they said that that land belonged to them. Listen, that's the quarrel that I don't really
well,
technically know about.
not
Like, listen,
exactly what I'm saying. Sorry, I just don't want you to have to go off on something that I'm
no, you're fine. You're okay. Yeah, keep
um
going.
how confident are you that you've come to the correct conclusion in this?
Well, my conclusion is that like, don't think it's like don't think the gays don't care because because the Muslims do not support us. Like we definitely care a lot. I think a lot of us do care a lot. I think a lot of us are protesting. Even if the Muslims don't like us, I think that the gays are supporting the Palestinians for a much better right for their survival in their life. Like it's just like I support the Palestinians, but I don't ever get, I get shit in return. I feel like a lot of like Muslims, and I'm not saying all Palestinians are Muslims, but the majority of them are Muslims. So they're like, why would it's crazy to me in chat. Like I get kind of bamboozled, kind of like attacked for being gay, but it's like, you know
sorry you
what?
have to
I
go
guess,
through that. That's terrible to
yeah,
get to attacked
yeah.
just because of who you are.
But
Yeah.
even if like the Palestinians are majority Muslim, like I still support Palestine because it's just like I personally don't like colonization. I feel like no one does, and I'm not sitting here and trying to be like a white knight or anything like that. But it's just like just understand that like even if you don't support the gays, you hate the gays, Muslims hate the gays, whatever. Like a lot of us will continue to support the Palestinian movement because it's the truth of the matter. That's all I'm saying.
I first off, I can respect the fact that you're very passionate and care about people, um, and I hear you've heard reasons that make you not support Israel. Are there reasons that are there like actions and things that Palestine could do that would change your support of them?
No, I think Palestine is just the way they are. If they hate the gays, they hate the gays, whatever. I mean, I'm sure the gays don't care. Like they probably don't give a fuck, like whatever. But,
If Palestine came out and said they were pro-colonization,
no, because if they're that's a heavy topic. I feel like if all I'm just saying is if the Palestinians don't give a fuck about the gays, it's whatever. Like it's chilling, it's fine. But like I think the gays
Mm.
are just very supportive of non-colonization ideologies, only because it's just not. I guess like I don't know. Are you guys American? I just feel like it's just we've always been against colonization in general. Like I feel like the liberal parts of America, I just feel like it's just not what it is in that sense. If you understand what I'm saying.
I think I understand what you're saying. So it sounds like you have a lot of empathy towards Palestine, because
I do.
yeah, like that the
Because
people are being treated
because
unfairly. It sounds like.
you know where one of the gayest countries in the world is? It's Tel Aviv. And I could sit here and
Mm.
I can say like, wow, I wish all these Muslims would die because Tel Aviv would be the gayest city in the world. But I'm not, because it's not ethical, it's not reasonable. It's not
Mm.
reasonable, it's not ethical, it's not anything of the sorts. I would never ever say that in my fucking life. I would never ever say that. In general, that's just like, it doesn't matter if you hate the gays or not. I just feel like I think a lot of a lot of like the cities in America is very liberal. I think they support the Palestinian movement in that sense that like it's just in that sense, it's just correct to do that because it's the truth. Palestinians have been there forever, and the Zionists have been moving in ever since World War II. We've acknowledged that. We've understood that.
If you were to
So
learn, if you were to learn that Palestine, I'm not saying this is the case. This probably isn't the case. But if you were to learn that Palestine wasn't as old as you thought it was, if it was a lot newer, would that shift your confidence? Would you change your stance at all?
if it wasn't as old as I thought it was, I feel like it's
Yeah,
been bragged. I feel like Palestine has been bragged like it's been the oldest only because people have made religions based
yeah,
on the
probably
context
is
that
hypothetical.
the land it's old itself. People don't want to leave Palestine because it's the oldest land like ever. People don't want to leave Palestine because it's the land of the gods. That's what they've been saying.
Hmm.
I feel like that's what they've been saying. Am I right or am I wrong? Like they're saying Palestine has been the land of God, the Abrahamic religion, God, etc. So, um,
why was it important to you to bring up the subject of gay support in Palestine?
I feel like because a lot of the Muslim people on the server think that gays are just out for evil and out for like bloodshed and whatever they think that the gays do. I just want them to know like the gays are not out here to hurt you. We we support you, we love you. Um and it's never that deep. It's never that deep. We don't come out here and judge, not at all. It's just like I feel like that's important to bring out. Like we gays don't come out here and judge Muslims because they're Muslims. Like we understand that's their religion, it's whatever. But it's like if they're gonna antagonize us and judge us for it, that's a different thing. But what I'm saying is that like we we're not out here to attack religion and etc.
Okay.
I feel like that's the point I want to make because I always come in here and there's always a Muslim person saying, "You're gay? Are you gay?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm gay." And they're like, "You're homosexual. Like you should be burning in hell." And I'm like, "Wow, thanks. That's very Muslim of you to tell me I'm burning in hell." Thank you. Like I don't know, you know?
So it kind of sounds like you really want to be heard. You want Muslims to hear you and understand that you don't want harm to them or probably anyone else,
Yeah,
right?
none of us gays, I don't think we think about Muslim people every day. Like we don't think about how bad they are to our community. Like we just think, oh, like I mean, me personally, as a person, I don't think about the Muslims. I don't think about them at all every day of my life. They don't live in my mind rent free, right? It's like they don't live in my mind rent free at all. Like, but I feel like when I come into a server, the Muslims automatically clock me. They're like, damn, you're gay, you're homosexual, you're burning in hell, blah blah blah. It's like, damn, like what's the correlation? What was I feel like it was so unprovoked in that sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like it was unprovoked. Like I didn't even do anything. I didn't even have to say anything. They came to the server and they were like, "Yeah, you're gay. Damn, you're burning in hell, bitch. You're burning." I'm like, "Damn, okay."
Yeah, that I think if that were to happen, actually, you know what? I think that has happened to me. I'm not gay, but I have had individuals tell me that I was going to hell, and I don't know. How does that make you feel? I think I felt rather sad. What
I
was your thoughts on it?
you know what, Loki, I do feel kind of sad. I'm like, "Damn, like I'm gay and I don't even think about these Muslims every day on a daily, but they be thinking that I'm out there. I'm out to get them in their sleep, in their mornings, in their lunch, in their afternoon. Like I'm just out there to prey on Muslims every day. And I'm not. We're none of us gays think about I don't want to say that we don't think about Muslims, but we just don't think about people who hate us because everybody hates us. The Catholics, the Christians, the Jews, the Muslims, they all hate us. We don't even think about them, but every time I come in, it's like, damn, like I'm getting attacked so hard. And it's
Just
like,
for
why?
just for clarity, is it all Muslims or just some Muslims?
I feel like a lot of them. I was attacked by this one Muslim guy today verbally. He was just
On
telling me like,
on
damn,
Discord,
like,
correct?
yeah, yeah. He was telling me
Yeah.
like, oh, like, he was actually really angry at me because I just, he was like telling me like, oh, he was trying to start a fight. He was like, oh, how many genders are there? And I'm like, babe, don't ask that because you're just trying to start a fight. That's all you're trying to do. And he's like,
Sard-
well, no, well, answer me. How many genders is there? And I'm like, you're just trying to start a fight at that point. Like, just don't say that.
Sardonyx, is that the word? Is that your name there? Sardonyx?
Yes. Oh my God, you're like the first person to say
Nice.
it correctly. Yeah. You're actually the first person to say it correctly. Yeah. My name is Sardonyx.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you're using language like we gays don't feel. You're saying we gays don't do this. We are just trying to live our life. We are doing
Well,
that.
well,
Hold on.
technically,
If
I'm not trying to say all gays, but I'm saying the majority. It's like they're just trying to live their life.
yeah, what we all know that the internet's full of assholes. We all know that Discord is prime location for like just that really aggressive, straight to the point of gotcha or disagreement.
Yeah.
If you met a Muslim out in life, and how would you know if he's just trying to chill and he or she's trying to just chill and live their life? Like, do you feel as though you're kind of giving a similar assumption on them that that's the response you're going to get?
I mean, of course, because like it's not everyone who's like me, but as me personally, as the way I look at and view life on other people, I don't judge a person until I kind of make contact with them. Like I don't judge every Muslim person to say that oh they hate gays. Like, but some Muslims they do love me. Listen, I had a boyfriend that was Muslim. Like, I mean, at the same time, it's like I've had a boyfriend that was Muslim, but at the same time, I don't judge every Muslim person who you know hates me or etc. Like or who might not hate me. I just kind of take them. I kind of look at them as like just another person until I get to know them. They might not like me, they might hate me, they might like me. So they're all different people. Even if you are Muslim, you're all different people. So it's like you might like the gays, you might hate the gays. I don't think about that. I just treat you as a normal human being until I really get to know you and your stance on life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How do you treat the person after you learn their stance?
Um well, if they're very much like, oh, like we do not support the gays, we hate the gays, da da da, like, you know, I might shy away. I might not like talk to them. Like it's like whatever, like because I don't feel comfortable with being around people who don't like the gays. Like it's okay if you don't like them. I just don't want to be around you. But I'm not gonna tell them that, right? So I kind of shy away from it.
Okay.
But if you're I'm not but if you're comfortable being around, if you're like very much comfortable in your religion and your, you know, homosexuality, whatever, your sexuality in general, if you're just like casually um you know, okay in your sexuality or whatever, like that's fine. Like I'm not, no one's gonna hit on you. I'm not gonna sit here and hit on you. Like no one's gonna do that. It's just like if you're okay with your sexuality and you're okay with your religion, like you know who you are. I like people like that. I like people who understand who they are as a person and their religion and their sexuality and where they stand on. I like people like that because you know why? If you're unsure of your sexuality, you're gonna hate the gays. You're gonna hate a specific group of people. But if you're very comfortable in your sexuality and your religion, you're not gonna hate on anybody. You know why? Because you know who you are. You know who you are.
I just want to bounce back. I just want to say I appreciate what you said there, and thank you for sharing. But I'd like to I have the camera on David. Okay, I'd like to just bounce back to what we were talking about earlier with Palestine and Israel. What I'm going to ask
Oh,
you
okay.
here, it's a called a real reason check. If you're comfortable with it, you
Okay.
don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Okay.
If this
I'm on 5% battery and I'm out at the club right now. So like just give me some quick questions. Like it's
All
okay.
right, I will. I will go fast. I'll try. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah, of course.
I think your main reason that you had stated was that Palestine is like ancient. Like, ooh, they've been there forever. These people have been living there
Yeah.
forever. And then we got Israel coming in and trying to take that land, colonize, right?
Yes.
And yeah, if that wasn't the case, if they had gotten there like same time, same exact day, same exact hour, same exact minute, same exact second, how would you feel about this situation?
Like if the Jewish and the Muslims got there in the exact same second, like how would I feel about the situation?
Hmm.
Well, I mean, of course I'm gonna feel like damn, nobody has to kill each other, but we're definitely gonna support both. But at the same time, right now in real life, like the Palestinians have been there for forever. They've been there for centuries. The old maps have been proven Palestinian has been on the map forever until the Jewish been coming along and they've been trying to kill all the Palestinians. And I'm like, you know, that's the truth of the matter. But I'm just saying, like, if they both came at the same time, I feel like, yeah, I would say, oh, they should be peaceful with both one another, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the case. That's not the case. The Palestinians have been, you know, been killed. They've been killed for tens of years. And I feel like I've known this since I was a little child. Like I've had Palestinian friends who have been fighting for their rights in high school forever in America. I live in America. I have Palestinian friends in high school. And it really sucks. It really sucks to see that like they have to fight for their country in America all day, every day. Like it just really sucks for me. For me, like it just sucks for me to see that they have to fight for their rights in their country and their freedom in their country. Like you know they've been discriminated, they've been killed forever. You know, people are like, oh, look at this war that's been starting. Like, you know, we don't give a shit about this war, but this war has been forever. This war has been since the 1948s, like since they've been here, like it's been forever. Like, you know, it's not new. This war between the Palestinians and the Israelis, it's not new. It's not new.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, it's not new. It's not like a new thing. You know, it's been here forever, ever since I've heard about it when I was in high school. And I'm American. Can you imagine that? Like in America, oh, what a silly American thinking about, you know, other countries. Sure. but like I've heard about this war, I've seen this war, I've studied on this war when I was in high school. It's been forever ago. Like, like the Israelis have been killing the Palestinians for tens and tens of years, and I'm tired and I'm sick of
Yeah.
hearing about Hamas this, Hamas that. The Israelis
Sardonyx.
have been
I,
murdering them
I
for
think we.
tens of years.
Sardonyx,
Yeah.
how do you sort through? Pierce, go ahead with your thought. I know you're excited.
Oh, I was switching it to you.
Oh, how do you sort through how to trust sources? Like, how do you sort through what to know is true? Yeah.
Oh, baby, I took a class on this in college. I was very illiterate. I was very much like dumb and illiterate and etc. when it comes to like college courses. When it comes to like news anchors, especially news anchors, like I was like watching Fox, I was watching like CNN, but like but at the end of the day, when I went to that class in high school and actually college, I'm sorry. When I went to that class in college, I was learning like a lot of these news sources are very much fake. Like I think that's why a lot of colleges in America are very much expanding their protests, because they've learned that a lot of these news anchors are very much fake. And I've learned that in college. Like, you can't trust you can't trust Fox, you can't trust CNN, you can't trust a lot of these news anchors. Maybe I'll watch maybe I'll watch PBS, maybe I'll watch like, ABC, I'll watch, N whatever.
How do
But
you know which are
I
trustworthy?
I I
How do you figure
definitely go
out
to like
whether?
I go to college sources. I go to college like
Oh,
articles,
wow.
college sources, anything like college related. I'll like search up college sources. Like I don't go to news anchors. I don't watch news anchors. I don't watch Fox. I don't watch CNN. I go directly to the colleges who are studying these events, these current events, these articles, etc. I study them. I watch
How do
them.
you
I read them.
how do you know if they are trustworthy?
I mean, they're not a college for a reason. They're
Could they be
colleges. They're
incorrect?
they're all colleges.
Could they be
Of course
mistaken?
they're being corrected. They're corrected by each other, of course. I feel like they are
Okay.
trustworthy, and I don't necessarily think, it's not even just one college source that I look at. It's a bunch of college sources. It's like all of them, all of them. I
And
look
why
at
college
the
source?
University of UCLA. I look at Berkeley. I look at everywhere. I make sure that what I'm seeing is correct, because I need more information than just like current events. I need information on like my skincare. Like I need information on my skincare. I need information on a lot of things. Like
I
I search up
understand.
So
college like
yeah, how do we
articles.
know if what is being written in there is true? Like could they write something in one of those college sources that is incorrect? Like
Listen,
could it?
only if a marginal group of people are paying them to, like let's say if like all the Jewish people who own a specific group of colleges is paying them. Not that I would
Hmm.
know, but like I'm just saying, like it's a college for a reason. I feel like colleges have their integrity. They have their integrity to stand their ground when it comes to knowledge and education, and that's just what I'm gonna look upon. That's what I'm gonna look at when I look at college sources. When I'm looking at sources, I'm going to look at college sources. I'm not going to look at, like Fox and CNN. I'm going to look at college sources, what they're saying
Hmm.
about skincare, what they're saying about like, current events or whatever. Like, because they do publish a lot of articles about certain subjects, not just one. They publish a lot.
If there was someone who was listening to us and I heard you say college sources, and he was thinking, college sources. I don't think I can trust them. What do you think the reason he would say that would be?
I would have been like, babe, go to college. Bitch, go to college. Like if you
Hmm.
haven't been into college, you must not know what college is.
let's
Like if
let's say
you
best case
must.
scenario. Like let's say like your best friend growing up disagrees
Yeah.
with you on this. Like you trust this person to be a decent person, but they disagree. They don't trust the college
Okay.
sources for some reason.
Okay.
What reasons do you think they might present?
Okay. They can eat my ass because they probably believe in Trump. They probably believe in the propaganda that's like spewed upon this country by politics, by a bunch of political political people like Trump or their administration. I don't believe that. I don't believe in, watching news anchors that support specific administrations. That's stupid. That's lame. That's
I feel
dumb.
like that shifted a little bit
Personally.
away from what I was asking. I was asking about the college sources that you're saying
And
is how we know for sure something
because they're
is
college
reliable.
sources. It's
But
because I think a lot of colleges, even in America and all around the country, they stand their integrity. Like I said, they stand with their integrity on what they produce into the world. And I'm not saying all colleges are trustworthy, but I'm saying like a lot of colleges, if you do your research, are just likely, accurate about certain subjects.
What
More
kind of
likely about certain
research
subjects.
could we do? What kind of research could we do? How could we find out if a college is trustworthy? What would we look for?
Oh, I think you would definitely look for, links, definitely links, because I feel like a lot of people do not like understand how to look for links and how to look for .org, .com, .net, like whatever. I feel like a lot of people don't know how to look for that. So I feel like definitely
When you say
understand,
links,
links. Definitely understand links. Definitely understand
like a
the .org,
hyperlink.
.com, etc. Like I feel
walk
like,
me.
make sure that you understand where you're getting your information from. Make sure you know where you're getting your information from. Exactly that.
Walk me down this path. When you say links, do you mean like linking to like evidence or just like another web
No, no,
page?
I'm sorry. In America, when we say links, like when I'm saying the context in which I'm saying links, it's like the links of like the internet links, the shit, the fucking. I'm sorry. Wait,
A
I'm sorry. I
hyperlink.
didn't mean to curse. I'm so sorry. I
That's
did
okay.
not mean to curse.
That's fine. That's
So
fine.
the hyperlinks, the specific links, like it's like like the .coms and the .orgs and the .nets and etc. Some people are fooled. They're bamboozled by specific links that, are, attached to different websites. And I don't think they understand that they're looking at something wrong, or if they're looking at something fake. Listen, I understand when I'm looking at something fake. Trust me, I've had 7 drinks. Let's be real. I've had 7 drinks, and when I'm sober, I understand what I'm looking at. I've been to college. Listen, 7 times I've been to college, 7 times, and I understand what I'm looking at. If it's not a college link, it's not a college link, BB. Like
Okay.
I'm being really real.
Like you said that sometimes people can be bamboozled by a link, so I'm assuming they can be like tricked by a link. And then
Of
sometimes like you
course,
look for it for it being trustworthy. How
of
do
course,
we
there
figure out
there
if one's trustworthy or a bamboozle?
you make sure the grammar is correct. You make sure it's a vibe. You make sure the link is just not, especially you make sure the link is what it's advertising as a college link, as a college article, and not like some .net propaganda that's out to get you and your viruses in your computer.
Uh,
Especially that.
so if there was like an article and it didn't have any grammar issues, it was really good,
Yeah.
and there wasn't anything else too suspicious about it.
I
Would
mean,
you would you believe it?
listen, for me, it's very easy to search up college sources because it comes up on my Google very easily. I make sure it's from a college. I make sure the college, like links is correct, and I make sure I know what I'm reading. But people in the comments can say what they want, but I make sure I know where I'm looking at, so I know what I'm talking about. Because people, especially like foreigners, and I'm not trying to sit here and separate like foreigners from etc., but I'm just saying like a lot of foreigners, they sit here and they say, oh, America and their propaganda and da da da, and I'm like, babe, you're the one being influenced by our propaganda. You're the one looking at our propaganda. You're the one watching our propaganda. So you're the one influenced by it. You see, because I asked a lot of these foreigners, I'm like, well, where did you hear this from? And they're like, oh, well, I read or I heard or I seen. It's very much giving you were influenced by American propaganda. It's very much.
Sardonyx, I feel like I've got a lot of questions for you. Like we could talk for a long time, I think.
A long time,
we-
babe. I got 3% on my battery.
I know.
got
Charge your
3%.
phone. Here's what I'm gonna say. Charge your phone.
I'm out at the clubs right now. Like I'm
Yeah,
sitting
find
here
you a
smoking my
charger.
vape. I'm sitting here smoking my vape. I'm like, at the clubs. It's my birthday. It's like today's my birthday.
Happy
I'm just
birthday.
like at the clubs. Yeah, thank you. Oh my god, thank you.
Everybody, happy
Wait,
birthday
how
in the
many?
chat.
Wait,
That's
what
what a
kind of
streamer
questions
would
did
say,
you have
right?
for me? I'll answer your questions before my phone dies.
Too many sardonics. We got some more people waiting in the audience, and we've been here
Oh really?
a little bit.
Oh really? Of course.
So,
Yeah, of course.
what I was going to say is charge your phone and get back in line. And I'll talk to you more after we run through the other people a little bit because we're trying to take a few calls for the show. Okay.
Listen, I've never been in this channel, but like you can invite me back anytime if you want, etc., etc. So, yeah.
All right. Appreciate you chatting. Any questions for us before we put you down?
No, I'm chill.
Right on. Happy
All right,
birthday.
cool.
All right,
Happy
thank
birthday.
you. Have a nice one.
You too.
All right. I know we got Baker, who has had his hand up for a long time. We're going to bring him on up. Hello there.
Hello, how are you doing, Mr. Peace
All
and Mr.
right.
David?
Yeah. Right. Thanks for your patience.
Honestly, listening, yeah, it's not only patience, it's tolerance as well, because I've been listening to a lot of things that our dear friend was here saying, and the way that he generalized everything in an extremely illogical way just bamboozled my mind. This guy just went on straight up saying, oh, all Muslims hate gay people. Oh, Catholics hate me as well. Jews hate him as well. And I don't know, how did he just was able to generalize on all of these schools of thought or all of these religions? Because at the end of the day, the people that hated him are people, are humans. And at the end of the day, these people represent themselves at the end. Because no matter how one would try to think about it, our daily media is completely filled with people that are good at generalizing. Like these sentences and these words that just like leave us without any sort of logical thinking or any sort of, let's say, being understanding of other people.
Yeah,
So the
empathy.
point here is that I'm trying to say, I was just like truly shocked when he connected the Palestinian case with the homophobia and homosexuality, because we have a saying in Arabic, how did you connect two illogical points together that have no correlation? These people that die and what they have to do with homosexuality. Yeah, because they're Muslim, but like, even though they're trying to fight for their own lives, they're trying to find something to live for, to survive. What does homosexuality have to do with all of this? And when he started talking about the idea of, yeah, how to filter out good information with links, it's like this word just is extreme. To filter out information based on .com, .org, and .edu, this has nothing to do with how to get good information from the internet. The internet is absolutely criminal in its way of suggesting ideas and data to you. If you go to google.com and try to Google any sort of ideas, Google itself hides a lot of things that people don't want to see. If you search the very same thing on Google and go for another search engine like Yandex, which is a Russian search engine that's completely unfiltered,
Oh,
you
so
will be
Baker,
finding so many other stuff. Yeah, go
as
ahead.
I just want to let you know that David and I, we won't be speaking about other guests, especially when they're not on stage. Just that's kind of our thing.
Gotcha,
We
gotcha.
don't like to badmouth anybody, especially
No
when they
worries.
can't stand up for themselves. But if there was something that you wanted to chat about besides another guest, we'd be more than happy to chat about it.
Yeah, sure, no worries then.
But I hear what you're saying. I mean, I can understand how generalizations can be harmful and in a similar way. And I mean, it's hard, but as you can see, as we're trying to talk, there's so many ideas that are intertwined and mixed together that a lot of language, I think, gets takes you off on trails before you can even actually talk about what motivates people or what their actual reasonings are behind things. So what I'm trying to say is, I imagine sardonyx's reasons are complicated and like everyone else's, and it's completely. I get the inclination of want to just uh, call out a lot of like the semantical, the wheeze, the wheeze, the wheeze, the wheeze. I'm breaking your rule, Pierce. I'm sorry, but
Okay.
uh, at the same time, I mean, we're trying to understand each other, and communicating these ideas are difficult because there's answers that you give people when they ask you about topics, and then there's answers that are connected to multiple ideas that you haven't sorted through already. And so that's kind of the whole process here is we're trying to uh, sort through the different interconnecting parts so we can get more into the deeper discussion instead of uh,
Wonderful.
like in debate mode, you jump on the word where they're wrong, or you jump on the word
Mhm.
where they might be mistaken, or they can you
Exactly.
can make a contradiction or something. Um,
Mm.
so that's what we're trying to do different here, and it's a patience game. It's I mean, you learn a lot of interesting stuff. Like, I mean, but I can understand if it feels like it's something personal against something of your self, your family, your identity, it can feel more grating to listen to somebody talk like that. And I think that's probably what we were listening to earlier is a lot of feeling of their identity and their person and their family and their friends being
Mm.
uh, looked negatively on. And so we have to sort through the passion of the frustration first to get behind
To
the logical.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry for the interruption, but like you said, to get to the deeper level of the discussion. So
Yeah.
that raises a question in my mind. What is the deeper level of the discussion that we're trying to reach here? Because I joined very recently when Sadinix was talking, and I was unable to reach any sort of point due to all types of interconnected ideas as you've introduced before. So I would love if me and the audience can be reintroduced to the what um, is the core that we're trying to reach or shape here.
Sure. Well, it's kind of open ended in a lot of ways. We ask what's something important to you that wish other people also believed, or we try to understand the reasonings of like let's say you have a belief that you want to explore and say, I think this, but I don't entirely know why I think it, or the goal is ultimately to read the comment that Mango just posted, which summarizes everything pretty well from the YouTube description.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so what we're really trying to do is encourage reflection and introspection. So when people come up on stage and say they have a belief they'd like to discuss, or something they think is true, or something they think should be done, we want to approach it in a way that is non-confrontational. So we try to really empathetically listen to what they have to say. If we were not to empathetically listen, it probably will turn into a debate, and probably a heated debate. So when we empathetically listen, we show empathy for the person who we were talking to, and that lets them
Wonderful.
know that we're not an enemy, that we're not going to fight them. We are really trying to come to an understanding, really trying to listen and understand what they're saying so we can fully understand it. And then we will hopefully help them inspect whether they have come to a conclusion that is valid or warranted.
Wonderful. So that makes me in a position right now. I've asked question, but now I don't know what questions may I be asked to maybe reach a point of introspection.
It depends. It might be as simple as what could you learn or discover that could change your mind. It's a good one.
Something that I could learn and discover that could change my mind.
Yes.
In terms of possibilities, I could be learning anything from all types of books and all types of things. But the mind is delusional sometimes. It could think, yeah, I could be reading this book about psychology and it could lead to a better understanding of my own life and my own, let's say, mental health. But to my surprise, after I'm reading psychology, I'm finding myself worse. So, to be honest with you, I really love this question, but this question, I find myself asking it in my diary. It's a trap. A trap that keeps deluding me into thinking, yeah, this could be the solution to me. This could be a solution to me. It's as if I'm chasing after water in the desert. I don't know what is it called, the right word for this, but when there's heat from afar, it looks like water. And that thing is like a delusion. You think, oh, this could be the solution to me. A mirage. So this question, as much as I do love it, but at the very same time I do hate it because it's mixed. It could lead me to a solution, but at the very same time it leads me to a mirage.
I think I understand what you're saying. So with this question, somebody could interpret it as like, what's the right way to word this? I'm struggling for the words. Like, someone could interpret it as like, if reality was different and I found this thing in this different reality, then I would change my belief. But really, when I ask that question, that's not what I'm actually after. I'm after what you could discover in this reality that could alter your perception on where you stand, on your confidence for whatever you happen to believe.
How would I know? How would I know what could alter my perception that much? If I knew it, I would have done it already long ago. A lot of,
I don't know.
Again,
Like if I got to ride on Santa's sleigh, I would believe in Santa Claus. That's information I could find out.
Perception?
It
Like,
would
would this
change
change my life to the better? It does change our perceptions change on a like 24/7 basis when we consume any sort of media or any sort of information. But this change happens perhaps on the unconscious level. We don't really witness it or see it. But like to be consciously aware of something that you would want to change of your own perception, at that point, well, we could have already changed our perceptions to the things that we wanted long ago. But our minds and our life doesn't function in this way. A lot of us wanted to change our perception about, let's say, work and money and hard ethic and discipline and loving our life and etc. etc. This is a desire in us. And that's why this desire got interpreted into philosophy, to try to understand it better and get life better. But if this desire alone to, okay, what can I do to change my perception? Oh, go to gym. It could like alter your perception in an extreme amount of way. But would it? That's the question.
Well, Baker, we could talk about this for quite a bit, but
Yeah.
if you'd want to state something that you think is true, by all means, we can run through the process by example if you'd like.
Something that I think is true.
Believe is true. You think should be the case. Really, anything. We'll work with it. Whatever you got.
I think writing should be one of the most essential things for human minds to practice thinking and at the very same time to hone their way of living. Because nowadays it's extremely hard to really think about life in talks and discussions with people because these things are rarely bring up. So writing could be a way or a mean that could alleviate to the mind to a better way of thinking. So yeah, that's a thing that I do think is true and should be.
Okay. Can I get a little clarification on writing? Does it literally mean with a pen and paper, or can you use a keyboard?
You can use a keyboard. The intention itself is writing, and no matter how you like to write, some people are quite comfortable with writing with pen. They find enjoyment in this. They find dopamine in that.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good for you. But some people think faster than they type with hand, so they have to go to the keyboard. Other people, the keyboard isn't really fast for them, so they speak
Gotcha.
to the transcriber as well. So it depends. But like the main thing is use this mean.
Okay. So it's all about the documenting your thoughts onto some sort of media.
Exactly.
And this is something that is more beneficial than having a discussion with a friend. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's not necessarily more beneficial, but it depends on the quality of a friend that you're talking with. There are some people that like to yap, let's say this word, that are not really that helpful in you reaching a point or a deeper level. No matter how much you try with them, they somehow connect random ideas to another random ideas, and then at the end of the day, you find yourself lost in the sea. So it depends. Like this is a very nuanced factor. But writing with yourself and checking with your own ideas and you honing them and rewriting them over and over again, perhaps you can use some tools such as Google and AI, such as Gemini and ChatGPT. Perhaps these things could help you also alleviate your own way of thinking and hone it even more. But yeah, talking with friends, socializing is an essential thing for human beings because that's who we are at the end of the day. That's where you use your way of thinking.
Okay. So I think I can distill what you're saying down to writing, as in documenting your thoughts or whatever you want to document into the computer, paper, whichever. That
Not
is
really documenting.
okay.
It's not really
Help me
documenting,
understand.
but more like exploring your thoughts and even thinking. Because if I'm documenting my thoughts, I'm just like brain dumping whatever is on my mind on the paper. But I'm not doing this. I'm
Oh,
actively writing and thinking at the very same time.
okay.
I think I
Do
might be one of those. Go ahead, Pierce.
do you need to write it down or type it up? Can it just be completely in your head?
If it's completely in your head, most probably you're gonna lose the idea of whatever that's happening on your mind. So writing things down and thinking about them actively on the paper or any means is the thing that I'm trying to reach over here. Keeping things in your head might increase the mental load for some people. Some people cannot really handle having a lot of ideas in their minds because they're just like stressed and anxious and so on and so forth. That's why writing is used as a means, like journaling a diary, to alleviate stress and overthinking in the mind for people that are not really good with controlling their minds.
Is this something that you learned or something that you fell into naturally?
Well, it's both. I found myself somehow like liking to write every now and then, and more inclined to read as well. And that a part of me said, okay, I want to learn how to write. Let me read this book. How to write. There's literally some books about that. So I read this book and I found it very lovely. I said, okay, let me try this. And I started watching more podcasts as well and consuming media about writing. And this made me say, I'm naturally falling into this as I am learning it. So I started doing this to an extent in which it became very comfortable to me.
I can appreciate the thought process. One of the things I've learned about myself pretty recently is that I'm one of those people who can associate a thought to a thought to a thought to a thought to a thought, and I can run circles around my own brain all day. And I've found that I've often feel like I think better when I'm talking to another person. And I think that's because it does what I think you're describing here. And that kind of puts me on a track. Like it makes me actually interact with the idea that I'm in and follow it through to a certain degree. Like it puts a tangibility on the thing. Because my mind, like I describe to people, my mind is kind of like a Google search bar. You type in one word and then 50 suggestions come up underneath it.
Yeah.
And you could run off any trail on that. So there's a value of thinking things through, of being able to explore your own thoughts, and it's very difficult, I'd say, in today's world with the constant
Yes.
distractions,
Yeah.
the lots of things to look at, the race for attention from everything in life. Yeah, these are interesting thoughts. Big, I really appreciate you sharing them, and I
Thank
hope
you.
it didn't feel like we were shutting you down earlier. We did want to talk about. We
No,
just
it's okay.
wanted to make sure that we set the stage of saying we're not here to like trash people.
Yeah, I get you. Understandable.
Fantastic,
Yeah, it's
Becky.
okay.
let's chat some more here soon. You seem like a real interesting person. I'm gonna roll over here to the next person with the hand up, and we will. If we got some time at the end, feel free to jump back up.
Of course. It's going to be lovely.
Appreciate you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right, we will move on to the next person with their hand up. Hello there.
Hello?
Stone Dax.
Why I can't turn on my camera?
I think it's a stage thing. I'd love for you to be able to, but I don't think that's possible.
I don't think we have mod powers.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, don't worry about it. Okay,
Fancy avatar though.
so I'm not very philosophical and I'm not very smart. So I guess like this conversation is gonna be not very like I don't know, in a very deep way, but I want you guys to challenge me. And also I just want to give a little disclaimer. English is not my first language, nor is my second. So I mean I can make some mistakes.
That's okay. There's a lot of languages I don't know, and you would do better than me in all of them.
Okay, thank you so much. Also, just fun fact, I haven't eaten for 24 hours because I'm fasting. I do intermittent fasting, so yeah, it's one thing that I like. It's my health and try to experiment with my body as well. So yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, what would you like to discuss today?
I don't know, like health, maybe like languages. I don't know. I can discuss whatever you guys want to talk with me.
You want to talk about intermediate fasting?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Well,
And
intermittent.
yeah, go ahead. Tell us about it.
Yeah, okay. So just the introduction. Intermittent fasting is when you don't eat like over extended period of time. For example, if you don't eat like 15 hours or 16 hours, everyone can do the intermittent fasting. It's just like don't snack or don't just skip one of the meals, breakfast, lunch, or perhaps dinner. So for me, it works most of the times. I fast 16 to 18 hours, but once in a week, I fast 36 hours. I do that because when you fast, your like body will use your something called glucosan, the
Glucosamine.
yeah, something like that. Yes, and then it targets your fat. It targets like it just makes you healthier because your blood sugar levels will drop down. Your insulin levels will drop down as well. Um, yeah, I think that's perfect. Like it's one of the best things that people can do to eliminate the risk of having a lot of diseases, right? For example, type 2 diabetes. If you guys, I don't know, like want to live longer, just fast.
Okay. Okay, that is really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. Maybe we can concentrate on talking about intermediate fasting, eliminating diseases like type 2 diabetes, I think you said.
Yeah.
Okay. How confident are you that this is true and this is the case?
Well, I am 95% confident because I love statistics and I cannot say 100% like because yeah, for me 95% because I come from the family where we didn't have like a proper nutritional knowledge. We add processed food all the time, sugary drinks, sweet drinks, and everyone in my family are overweight or obese. And firstly, I mean, I suffered from it when I was first at the high school when I started having my back pain, and I went to the doctor, and doctor told me, oh, you got like a lot of excess weight and you need to lose some weight. And at that time I'm like, okay, how I'm gonna do this? Every time I do some kind of like yo-yo dieting, I just get more weight after, like, I have like an eating disorder. If I eat something like sweet, or I cannot stop myself, right?
Mm.
So then, I mean, after some years, after experimenting with dieting, like doing exercises and stuff, like trying to restrict calories, I find out that the easiest option for me is intermittent fasting, because it just stops you to crave stuff. Like, it stops me to crave sugar. For example, before, if I didn't eat like something sugary like chocolate, let's say, I went nuts. I was like, oh my God, I'm so frustrated. I really need to eat some sweet thing to calm me down. But nowadays, I'm not eating any sweets, like, except fruits, and I'm feeling very well. So I'm very happy.
Gotcha. Okay. So from what I heard, you're 95% confident and not quite 100%. Maybe you could be mistaken somehow. And you've come to this determination because your family has a history of obesity. And it sounds like in high school you kind of struggled with that. Couldn't stop eating things with sugar and processed foods. And
It's my personal history, yes. Yeah, this is the first-hand experience. However, I did my research because I also care about like muscles, right? I really need to get like lean, and to get like lean muscle, not just lose weight, because you need to lose fat, not like muscle, and at that moment, I was very hesitant. Do I lose muscle or do I not? But I find out that it actually, like, when you lose muscle, of course you're gonna lose muscle when you lose weight, but it's not gonna be over 20%. So I'm just saying that I'm confident because I did a lot of research. Sorry, I'm just
okay,
going out of topic a little bit. Yeah.
no worries. Which is it the research or the personal experience that got you to the 95%?
Both.
Was it?
It's
It's
both.
both.
Yeah. First research before stepping, like analyzing what's gonna happen, because when you open a new business, right, you are anxious, you don't know what you're gonna do, or like you don't, I mean, you are afraid that you're gonna lose money, right? But first, if you do the calculated risk, you analyze the market, you analyze your competitors, you analyze the profit, the market share. When you enter the industry, you're gonna succeed, right? So I'm also like, when it comes to my health, when it comes to certain decisions that will affect my life, I also take calculated risks, right? Try to research as much as possible before stepping in, so the risk is minimal, if any, like for health,
If you didn't have the personal experience, if this isn't something you went through in your life, do you think you'd still be 95% confident?
Could you
At
paraphrase?
yeah. If you didn't do intermittent fasting and you didn't have a family history of obesity, would you still be 95% confident that intermittent fasting eliminates these diseases like type 2 diabetes?
Well, if I was not overweight, if I was not like having these health issues, I wouldn't bother. Like, I would just lift weights to look better. But since like, my family suffers from diabetes, we have like genetical, like, predisposition to like diseases. I'm like, okay, not only I have to lose weight, but also I want to make it sustainable, and I want to make sure that, like, I'm not gonna have any like diseases. And also, intermittent fasting not only curbs diabetes, actually, it also curbs a lot of cancer. There's something called autophagy, and when you are in prolonged fasting, when you are over 18 hours, your body will start eating, like, quote unquote eating your harmful cells, harmful cancer cells, and it will it's how to say, antioxidant, and it's gonna help you to prevent any kind of cancer. You know what I'm saying? Like prevention is the best treatment.
Okay. Okay, interesting. I'm gonna let David jump in here in a minute, but I do want to ask a question about that. I think I would be more interested in talking about that specifically, like intermittent fasting helps cure cancer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it cures cancer. It actually the best preventional method for almost a lot of diseases, like a lot of diseases that are not viral. It can help.
Are you 95% confident of this as well?
Well, there might be some diseases that are not
Just on cancer. Just on cancer.
Yeah, a lot of cancer, a lot of types of cancer. Yes.
Oh, types of cancer. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
So types of cancer.
I am 95% confident. Yes, even 99% confident.
You want to jump in, David? I've been talking a while.
Yeah, no problem. Neat. How do you read studies to know that it's done these things? Do you listen to testimonials? Do you have
Yeah, I read peer-reviewed research on there's and also I look at the website if it's representative of the population that they tested. Is also includes variety of people, right? Not only one group of people from one region. If it's validated and verified by other researchers, scientists, and if it's a consensus, there are sometimes some YouTube videos saying, "Oh my God, fasting is bad. You can die from seizure or something." I don't trust this kind of information because I check the person's credibility. How what is the credibility of this person? Is this person a doctor, for example, right? Secondly, is this one case out of thousand? For example, vaccines, right? When vaccines was introduced, some people maybe died, but it was 1 out of 1 million, and those singular number of cases were broadcasted into the media in a as if everyone is dying from vaccine, right? So there are some controversial opinions that might be differentiated, but most of the times, if it's consensus among the researchers, among the studies, I tend to believe on them.
You said that you grew up in a family that was overweight, dispositions for diabetes, and things like that, and you decided it was important to focus on your health and to do something different.
Yeah.
In this is a little personal to ask, but did your family members follow suit? Did they also feel the same inclination?
Well, we always as a family wanted to be healthier. Well, however, the stuff that we ate, we did a lot of exercises, right? As a family, we went to groups sessions and etc. But when we come from the exercise, we always rewarded ourselves with some kind of ice cream, with some kind of junk food. We thought in our mind, my parents, unfortunately, they didn't have I'm sorry for my parents, but they didn't have enough knowledge about nutrition. And when they eat a lot of calories but exercise, it doesn't for example, in order to burn one donut, you have to run 1 hour, right? And we didn't have this kind of mentality, and unfortunately, we were always overweight. But once I realized the importance of nutrition, I tried to preach them about it. However, it's very difficult to change people because you can say a lot of stuff. You can say you can do this, you can do that, because I'm pretty sure if you follow the strategy, they say yes, 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 but they will follow their own habits. I think like discipline and motivation is important. And sometimes like I find like a lot of people, 95% of people are not disciplined. That's why they're not successful in what they're doing.
And what do you think helped you get over the hump? I mean, if you're growing up in that environment and you're being taught that's those same habits, why do you think your mind changed? That's what I'm interested in general, is
Okay.
why people change.
I changed because of the environment. Like I grew up, for example, I was the only like overweight guy in the class. For example, everyone looked good, and I was like, oh my God, like everyone looks good. And you just turn on the TV, for example, they're like reality shows of like people looking very good, and I was wondering, oh my God, like why I'm not like them. And I had like this, perhaps it's unhealthy and toxic when you compare yourself to others, but it really motivated me to be better version of myself. So that's one thing maybe like influenced my eating habits, perhaps.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you
Anyway,
think there's anything that you could have told your younger self without having to feel like the only non-attractive person? You think there's anything you could have told your younger self that would have brought you to the
um,
same conclusion that you're at now?
well, I would tell myself to eat healthily, like to just stop eating like processed meat and sugary stuff. I would tell myself to try harder, because well, sometimes we gotta feel that we are in deep shit in order to move to go to the next level, right? If you are if you are living in a comfortable life, even though your life isn't really great, you're not gonna progress, right? So if I would validate myself, oh, don't worry, you don't have to like be looking good, you don't have to just study, you're already doing great. I mean, by doing that, I would totally change myself, change my future, and I would perhaps be a loser.
Hmm.
Hmm. Is can someone not can someone be overweight and not be a loser?
Overweight, yes, but obese, no.
So all
Unless you're like, I mean, loser in a sense, what like, for me, if you can take care of your body, you can take care of everything. Like it shows that if you can take care of your body, it shows that you're disciplined. You know.
Mhm. Can someone be obese and be disciplined in every other aspect of their life except with like the amount of food they consume?
While them like when you're obese, it's actually hard to, I don't know, you would need like extra accommodation for a lot of stuff, right? For example, if you're obese, if you just walk with your friends, for example, you'll sweat a lot, and just like it's so difficult to be obese, right? Your joints hurt, your back hurts, and everything hurts, right? So definitely you can succeed in a lot of stuff. We can be disciplined at the studies, but if you, at the end of the day, if you're just cutting your life expectancy by 20 years, why, like, everything else doesn't matter. Like health is number one thing that you need to be disciplined at. If you're not disciplined at the most important thing, then you're not disciplined.
I think what I'm hearing is your health is the number one most important thing and it goes above everything else in the world.
Yes, because well, for example, it affects the quality of life. It affects how you're feeling, right? For example, if you're obese, your mood changes a lot. You will feel depressed most of the times because you have a lot of like hormones like cortisol, like that really changes your, I mean, changes your body, it changes how you feel. Most of the times there's like positive correlation of obesity with like depression, stress, I don't know, anxiety, you know, because your hormones doesn't function at all. You have a lot of like health problems and you don't feel good, you know.
If there was somebody else who had a different outlook on what they prioritize, and maybe this other thing was number one and health was number two or number three, what would you think of that?
I would respect them. Like, I mean, everyone is entitled to their opinion. If the health
Mhm.
is not number one in their life, I don't care because it's their life after all, right?
Mm.
But for me, I think of this person like, okay, in my like mind, I would say, okay, health is not number one of your priority, but what is your number one priority if not health, right? For example,
Mm.
if you say family, okay, would you care about your family seeing you dying, right? If you like obese and you already have a lot of like issues, diabetes, and your doctor says, oh, you're gonna die after 2 3 years if you continue at this pace, you know, seeing your family, for example, being unhappy about your health, do you think it matters?
Mm. Like, if you're asking me personally, I would say it does matter, especially the way you described it. Um, if there was something that could go above health as a priority in your life, what would that be? Like, what would number two be? I guess.
Uh, well, number two for me is financial freedom.
Okay.
Because, well, when you have resources, you can make yourself happy, you can make people around you happy, you know, you can explore new things, you can expand your knowledge, you can, I don't know, change lives, make an impact. So when
Mm.
you're financially wealthy, so I mean, if you're wealthy, it's good. So number two is wealth.
You
Number
said,
three is
but- I'm sorry. Go ahead.
number three is personal connections like friends and family.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting. Why is friends and well, you mentioned change the world in number two. You said with a lot of money you could change the world. Is that
Yeah,
something that's important to you, changing the world?
it is very important to me as well. But in order to change the world, you need to be a very strong individual, right? You need to be knowledgeable. For example, I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but I helped like three of my friends from Afghanistan when Taliban took over um, to evacuate them from Afghanistan to Scotland. Because I know the resources. I know that their organizations, for example, they were like gay people, and I'm like, okay, they are gay, and they gonna like, I mean, their family is gonna disown them, and in worst case they're gonna be executed, right, in Afghanistan. I need to help them, and how can I help them? And well, there are some resources that could help. For example, there's a Rainbow Railroad and etc. And how did I know about those resources? Because I learned a new language, and new language opened me an access to these resources. You know, like I learned English, and then I found out, okay, there are so many opportunities if you know English, right? Um, so if I
I'm wondering.
didn't, yeah.
I'm wondering. It sounds like you put a tremendous importance on friends and family. I'm wondering why that's not number two or even number one.
Because as I said, in order to help others, you need to help yourself. If you're poor,
Okay.
if you have like hundreds, thousands of debt, right? How could you help like your friends and family? How could you show your love to them? You know,
Hmm.
if you are homeless, for example, I mean, honestly, in reality, nobody will care about you if you're homeless. Like if, for example, your family and friends have a lot of problems, they're themselves in a very, very big problems, right? Let's say they cannot invite you to their homes because it's already like packed, right? you need to be self-sufficient. You need to have some resources in order to help yourself. For example, when you're in a plane, if the plane is falling down, when there's like oxygen masks, they will instruct you to put the oxygen masks first on yourself and then to others. So when you're financially free, you can help others.
I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. And initially, I may have misunderstood a little bit, just because I thought you were kind of saying like, and this is the misrepresentation that was in my head. I think you were saying like, if you're homeless, then your family will love you less or something like that. But I don't think that's what you were saying. I think you were saying that you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and once you're able to, excuse me, stabilize yourself, you'll be able to care for others in a way that will be easier and better, and everybody's going to be a little happier.
Yeah, for sure. Imagine your kid, like your child, is having I mean, God forbid, no, like it's just an imaginary situation, right? Theoretical. Imagine if your child is sick with a terminal illness. The only option is just to operate, and it costs like $100,000, and you don't have any kind of insurance, right? So would you? I mean, you love your child. I mean, you need to save him, right? Or save her. If you have the money, problem solved. If you don't have the money, unfortunately, rest in peace.
All right. David, do you have anything else to add? I think I've kind of gone through everything I'd like to.
Stonedax, how's your impression been on the show so far? We named it for the first time, and it's kind of given us a different vibe. And it's a new server for us. Just what's your impression of what we're doing here, and your guess of?
Well, I think
we're
it's
doing.
great because it helps people to improve their confidence to speak and to improve firstly, a lot of people here are to learn English, right? And even though they're fluent, even though they're native, first of all, like speaking in front of like other 20 people is actually really good plus, because it, for example, for me, it makes me improve my confidence, for example, and it improves the soft skills of people who are here.
I know.
They're the way they're talking, the way they're constructing their arguments, the way they're expressing themselves, for example, and also at the last but not least, it helps them to say something in their minds that they couldn't say to someone else.
Yeah,
I think you guys are doing a great job, so I'm happy to
Thank
be
you.
here.
appreciate all
Thank
the
you
kind
so
words.
much. And moving on to the next person, I was super glad to be here, so I'll be listening.
Thanks, Stonedax.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming up and sharing all those personal details that we always love to hear whatever you have to say. So I'll move you down to the audience. We'll bring up the next caller. We'll see what they got to say. And that is 1U something probably.
1UC is what I see.
I just see the
1UC.
Oh,
It's just
there you go.
Luke. How's it going?
Luke, going pretty good. How about yourself?
Too bad. Interesting show you got here. I know it was the last question to Stondax, but I think it's interesting. I wasn't sure what to expect, but it's interesting to just grab a collection of random opinions and thoughts, and some are obviously more divisive than others, but yeah, overall very interesting to just hear everyone's thoughts, especially from various diverse experiences.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just take this moment to plug David's YouTube, because why not? If you want to hear other interesting conversations, if you right click on his face right now and click profile, yep, you can find his channel that way. And I also have a channel where I have similar conversations there. So if this is something that really interests you, there you have it. But anyways, without further ado, I do appreciate the compliment, Luke. The
Is
in
it
any of
Luke
the
or
case,
one UC?
I said Luke.
I
It
don't
is
hear
Luke.
anything. Oh yeah, it's double. I love it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just was listening to everyone else talk and speak about. You know, I came in when we were discussing credible sources on the internet or just in general, and then the conversation meandered over to more philosophy and inner realization. And then recently we talked about health and wellness, and I just thought it'd be interesting to maybe take a crack at tying it together and talk about how the role of kind of technology shapes society. I know this is maybe not a as straightforward discussion, but and how the advancement of technology, whether it be generative AI or whether it simply just be people trying to misinform other people, um, can both bring about great change to the better and bring about great change to the worse. So, for instance, a simple example would be, when thinking about sources, which again is where I first joined the discussion, and considering how people consume data on the internet and how if it's not peer reviewed, if it's not from a reputable organization like the World Health Organization or potentially a scholar not scholarship a scholar resource such as a parliament or um, like there's various places on the internet that are like peer reviewed where all these peer reviewed articles are published. If it's not one of these places, and I mean even though I know about them, I never go there. How it's very easy to fall into a feedback loop, and this could be both negative or positive, of what you believe. So let's say, for instance, in a positive way, I know you said you don't like talking about previous speakers, but I think Stondak's example is perfect, and I see Stondak still in the audience, where you first learn about intermittent fasting, you learn about health, but then the algorithms of technology then will feed you more information about health and wellness and well-being to do better and to sure you live longer, all these potential benefits. And I agree with most of what you said, so I agree with your 95%. I think that's spot on the money personally. But there's the underlying issue of you seem to be very well informed and search out the peer reviewed content, the peer reviewed subjects, and it seems like you've read the studies to really put the work in, and live a healthier life, and props to you for doing that. But let's talk about the other 95% of people who won't do that. And especially with as technology moves faster and faster, and not only can you now deep fake every single one of us in this call, but instead, then make us say anything, do anything, or, create the perfect misinformation campaign. I guess my question to either one of you, just to, I don't know, have a discussion, is this is this overall a positive change? Do you think from a philosophy or maybe the ethical implications around AI, around not only creating misinformation, but also privacy concerns because of the data that AI is getting fed, and these algorithms that we're already getting caught into, right? Like as you look at Facebooks or the Instagrams of the world, is AI, in your opinion, a net positive, a net negative, or is it depends on the use case of the individual or corporation or whatever using it, or another opinion whatsoever?
You want to go first, David, or do you want me to?
I'll go. To me, I'm trying to sort through whether or not we live in a. I think we do live in like I think I heard that I don't even know if it's the right term for it, like a hyper reality, like at which we're bombarded with information constantly. Like we used to have a few sources that were like the mainstays of information, and you could kind of fact check that to a degree, even, or they could all be lying. It doesn't matter. But that's what I'm saying. There's a certain amount of throughout all history in which misinformation could have been used, weaponized, where things are hard to interpret. And let's be real, like not everything is something you can look up in a peer review. It's
Absolutely.
any kind of historical event, any kind of experience. You could see a video of somebody hurting another person, but you don't know the context of it. And it's a hard thing to decipher. And so whether or not it's for better or worse, the AI, I think I'm kind of a more of a neutral position on it in that it's kind of if it's not AI, they're doing everything else they can. So I guess that kind of goes to the use case. It's just a different shinier gun.
Exactly. Oh yeah, I see the perspective.
Yeah, and I take a very, very similar stance to what David had to say. I think it's very nuanced and case specific. I think that I can hear myself echoing, and that sucks. No, I can't. Okay, cool. Whatever that happened, fixed it. What was I saying? It's very nuanced. So I think AI and technology can do some really awesome things. It made the thumbnail for tonight's live stream. So, well, it
Heck
didn't create
yeah.
the whole thing. It created the background. But yeah, it helped write the description that you saw. So it does a lot of good, but can it do a lot of bad? Yeah, definitely. It definitely can. No doubts about it. And that's scary. Like I'm personally scared about that. But is the good outweighing the bad? Is the bad overshadowing the good? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
So then I then because I want to try to force you to take a stance. But so I mean, you can obviously back out. But my question, and I guess, is in your own nuanced perspective, use case, in your own day to day or life or whatever. Do you think it's positive? You said you're frightened of certain aspects of it, but
Mhm.
overall, do you think for your own productivity, well being, whatever that you're trying to do with your time, is it positive?
Right
I
now it
personally
is.
used it like 8 times today.
Yeah, like right now it is. In a few years, that might not be the case. Especially when they get video all figured out. I could very easily be tricked into thinking something is true and it's false, and that's really scary.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's true.
That's very true. Then I guess so you said you used it 8 times today, David. For any one of those things, did you search up I mean, I know I do this all the time, where it's just a quick search of, I wanted to know a fun fact, or I wanted to calculate a statistic from, for instance, the NHL playoffs are going on right now. So I looked up, what's the statistics of a team that wins the President's Cup. So that's like the team that comes first overall, ends up winning the Stanley Cup. And then it spit out some statistics, which I just took with it and run with it. Do you use AI to be like your Google source, or is it more practical?
Yeah, I've been using it for a Google source in a lot of ways. I was researching health stuff earlier today just to get a quick starting point on some thoughts. I was using it to. I was like, "Hey, make me an app." I don't know how to make apps, but I was like, "Let's see what it does," and it gave me a bunch of
That's very
code
cool.
that I'm going to play with later, and use it to translate because I'm trying to learn Spanish and I can do pretty good, but I need help sometimes. So lots of use cases. I guess the thing I worry about and most about it is it kind of it's hard to fact check it. Like, I mean, well, like some of them
Mhm.
give sources, but a lot of times you'll just kind of trust what it says, and that's fun. Like, um, but yeah, I'm getting sidetracked on a million thoughts, and I apologize.
No, it's interesting, right? It's interesting, right? Because I think so many people do the same thing. Obviously, we can't generalize and say everybody, but I think so many people who are trying to integrate or at least attempting to integrate, this newfound technology in their lives are interested in trying it out at the very least. Right? Like, so
Mhm.
I went to my parents' house the other day and I discovered that my mom like routinely uses AI and I was like, "What?" Like, you're not supposed to know how to do this. And I mean, not that she can't, she does great, but so many people are trying to use it to day-to-day life, and I think it's exactly that. It's very interesting to consider. Right now we're talking about I guess, if we take a few steps back, we talked about how, not everything can be peer reviewed. Not everything can be truly factual and, checked by a panel of experts. Not everything has that luxury. And right now, if and before that, a couple speakers before that, we talked about, the bias of so much media. And right now we're talking about, the neutrality of AI, but we're not even considering the potential bias that it has through the data that it was fed. We're just looking up, I do the same stuff. And, I'm not going to get you to talk about whatever health stuff you looked up. But for me, I looked up a bunch of like stuff about eyeballs or whatever. Or the other day I woke up and I yawned and then my ears started ringing and I was like, and they're still ringing like 3 weeks later. So I was like, oh shit, either I have tinnitus or, my ears are blocked or whatever. But I just trusted what AI had to say.
Mm.
But we talk about human bias, but I wonder if there is a certain of AI bias and reliance that we,
Yeah, how do
have
you?
accepted.
Yeah, if you think about it, Webster was one of the most powerful men on the planet. If you think about it, because he shaped the way with the dictionary, Webster's dictionary shaped the way that words were seen. Like, this is what this means. This is the definition. It shaped the entire world. So whatever bias Webster had was the way that the world was framed, at least in the English speaking world. I'm sure there's
For sure.
similar
Sure,
situations in
yeah.
other languages. And so now, I mean, as ChatGPT becomes more integrated in this stuff, I mean, if there will be some kind of slant to a degree. I mean, you can't have not a slant because you got to have parameters. So I don't know.
Absolutely. And
We'll see how it goes.
also one of the things, I don't know if you've ever tried out GPT Premium or whatever, but
Mhm.
I've had Premium since the beginning, and recently I've noticed it like logging right like a selection of messages just like arbitrarily, and then when I ask it questions in different context windows, it will then like use the source of something I brought up previously. So for instance, like I love
Mm.
skiing, and I was like using the app and I was talking to the AI as I was going for a walk, just to mull over and meditate on some ideas. And one of the things that it suggested to me is like, oh, because you love skiing, you should, maybe go skating because it's easier and, you can just, you can do it more locally. And I just pulled it out of nowhere. But as it
Mm.
learns more, I say this because I wonder if it will then become again a hyper, not addictive, but a hyper
Ad machine.
algorithm feedback loop that then gives you data based off of its opinions, sure, or its collection. I mean, it doesn't know anything; it's just generative, right?
Or its
But
inclination of
based off
what
of
you
what you
want you to
believe, it
believe.
will then
Yeah.
feed you back, right? I don't know. There's lots
Yeah.
of things to think about.
I mean, we already see that with social media, with search engines and stuff like that. I mean, people put in their curiosities, put in their opinions, put in their facts they want to know, and they get funneled through. And I mean, they say, well, if they're looking up this, they'll probably want to look up this too. This retains attention. This retains viewership. They click on more things when I show them this. They click on more things. I show them this. It's outrage. It leads to outrage. It leads to reactionary content. It leads to all that in that way because it funnels more attention. Attention is currency, and I've heard it called the race to the bottom of the brainstem. The goal is to get the most attention by all possible. Whatever gets you to keep using it. It's almost like it's not sentient. It's like a virus or something. I don't know. But
I understand the overall concept.
Yeah. And I feel bad for kids. Like kids, I'm stressed about the next generation because they live their entire, like they're growing up online, figuring out who they are as a person at the same time as a person in real life and online. So they're becoming immersed in this like profile world, like sense of identity. And I mean, they're getting fed constantly. And so before you might, get your neighbors and everybody just kind of, you get your opinions coming from your family and then you branch off, whatever. But now it's like hyper exposed at all times.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. That's actually a really, I mean, I guess slightly adjacent point, but nevertheless, I completely agree. Where I was listening to a podcast the other day from, I don't know, some doctor, and a lot of interesting opinions that I didn't necessarily agree with, but one that I really did was exactly that: was keep kids off technology for basically as long as humanly possible, because there's so many negative effects that not only come with using social media, like you brought up, David, but also simply being on technology is a net negative to human development, to just understanding and developing as a normal natural human being, especially as a kid, right? Like whether it comes from apps designed to steal your attention away, right? It's like the basic fun fact that maybe no one thinks about anymore, but where it's like our I don't know, you guys look about my age, and 30 years ago our parents' generation had an attention span of 20 minutes, right? Now the current, the 10, 12-year-olds of today, it's like 20 seconds. Right? It's like, look at TikTok, and I don't think it's actually that low, but it's at least like a couple minutes, right? And and the point is that it's just changed so drastically, and attention is how we get things done. Attention is how we focus on a task for a long time to succeed, whether we're doing something as simple or basic as homework, or trying to build an app like you are, David, or whatever else. You need that attention. And I don't know, man. I'm not worried. I'm not afraid. I'm just more. Is it bad to say excited about the cluster? F word that is going to happen, or at least I assume will happen. For so curious, maybe that. I'm very curious. Intrigued. Yes, I like intrigued. Intrigued to see how that's going to play out. Because naturally, of course, there's going to be so many people who just figure it out, but there's also going to be so many people who don't. And in the best way, I want to see that slow train crash. I want to. I think that'll be very entertaining, but also a wake-up call.
Yeah.
I think I might have heard a claim here. A very interesting claim. And it sounds like you and David, you might be on the same page here. I might have an opportunity to talk to you guys about this claim. Do you guys want to talk about this a little bit?
Sure.
I took down some notes here. Yeah, so what was it? So it sounds like we got this emerging technology. Actually, not really emerging. So it's been going on. Cell phones and TikTok and the YouTubes and Facebook and the social media and the Twitter and the X and whatever else you got. So it's like this next generation you guys were talking about, and it sounds like it's overall a net negative, the technology, or it's something that's not good. Are you guys agree with that statement or disagree?
I disagree.
I disagree.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Is it-
both of you think that
you
it's a net
wanna go first?
positive?
I'm more neutral.
Or-
I'm more of it
Okay.
being like meth can be mostly destructive. Adderall potentially could have a net positive. You know, it's about the presentation. It's about the use case, the regulation, in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
My
Luke,
perspective,
what's
yeah, is that for most people, it's a net positive. But it's just like I'm sure we're all familiar with the bell curve, right? Where it's like there's 1% at the very end after 3 standard deviations, 2 is like 15%, 3 is like 25%, and then like 60% of the people are in like within 1 standard deviation, right? For most people, technology is like totally fine, right? The what we like talking about or what we like seeing or we always hear about, in my opinion, is really in that bell curve where for some people technology is like the most awesome thing on the planet. It's the best thing ever, change their lives for the positive, yada, yada, yada. But also for a large group of people as well, equal size, but we hear about these people a lot more, it like ruined their life, right? They got a gambling addiction because it was on their phone and they connected all their bank accounts and they're maxed out their credit cards and, they got $10 million in debt but they only had, $1,000 to their name. So they're screwed, right? But we hear about that a
Gotcha.
lot more than the positive. So I
Okay.
still think it's net positive, but we're going to constantly be in this negative society. So we're going to hear the negative stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. So this was a really good example of a misunderstanding because I thought you guys would be on the complete opposite end of that. So glad you guys clarified that. Now I think we're on the same page here. And what is your guys's main reason that gets you to believe that this is net positive rather than neutral or net negative? Right? Did you say you were neutral, David?
Mostly.
Okay.
I think I lean towards positive.
Earlier he said neutral.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So neutral.
Probably easier swayed positive depending on the context, but
Okay.
yeah, it's broad.
Gotcha.
It's very broad.
And we'll start with you, David. How did you arrive at that conclusion?
I examined my values of access to information, entertaining, curiosity and growth in young people, the joys of being able to do so many things in remote locations that other people wouldn't have been able to experience 30 40 years ago. It's kind of leveled the playing field in some ways, like you don't have to be super upper class citizen to enjoy being able to watch a movie or travel, like to see other places. I mean, that it's limited to a degree, but it's also broadening the human experience for so many people.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know if that was a lot of answers in a lot of different ways.
I think I gotcha. So it increases accessibility to those who may not, actually probably everybody, I would imagine, but especially those who might have a lower income. And it helps, it probably brings them joy. That's kind of what you were saying?
Yeah, it can bring joy. It could bring potential helpful information if they can sort through all the mess. So it connects people who are further away from each other in ways. So it's expanded the community in some ways. It's depreciated the community in other ways. It's tough. It's daggum tough. I don't know.
Gotcha. All right, Luke,
I think it can be used. But you go ahead. Yeah, you get it.
I get you. I gotcha. Luke, how did you come to your conclusion?
Well, I agree with a lot what David said, where it's very easy for us to villainize technology in many places in the world that technology is so prevalent. Where if you live in Europe or North America, or in a big city, it's very easy to say, yeah, technology is a villain. But exactly David's point, if you live in a place that never had, let's use telephones for a simple example, never had the infrastructure or the money to install landlines. Well, suddenly, this is a while ago, but nevertheless, now you can install cell phone towers, which are so much cheaper, but now allow you to connect to the rest of the world, right? Allow you to connect to, Instagrams and TikToks. And,
Right.
Is this a good thing? Is TikTok bad? Is TikTok good? Well, maybe not. But what's important here is that they're connected, that they can have the information. And what information is, it's power. It's up to you to determine, whether or not it's going to be a net positive or net negative, because it depends on you and the people you're surrounding. But fundamentally, having access to it is what's important here. Now, even looking at it from a privileged point of view of having a lot of access to technology and always having access to technology, I look at it as a net positive, because exactly that. The more tools you have at your disposal, the more opportunities are potential. To David's point, he's using AI to learn a language. That's amazing. But that's an opportunity that he wouldn't have otherwise had. This Discord server for all these people learning English. This is an opportunity they wouldn't have had. They wouldn't have access to listen to this conversation. And maybe this conversation, they probably won't remember it for the rest of their lives. If they do, that's kind of cool. But the point is that they had the ability to do so through technology. And the technology is what's enabling that. It also enables a whole
Yeah, I think that brings
swath
the
of
next
bad
point. We
things,
got to think about like
but it
skibbity
enables a lot of good
toilet.
things too.
Like, I mean, we also have to know that we're also bringing skibbity toilet to the underdeveloped nations too, and that's something we should think about.
Absolutely.
Pierce has not seen it. It's a it's
I don't know.
Here, I'll flip the question. Do you disagree, Pierce? Do you think technology is a net negative?
No, I agree.
it's
I'm
a Gen
on
Z
board.
meme thing.
Okay. I'm too old for
Maybe
that.
maybe that actually might be the first Gen Alpha meme.
How old are they?
I don't want to think about it. Next subject, please.
I'm gonna look it up.
All right, I think it might. Is it time to get to the after show here?
I think we're reaching that point.
All right.
But Luke,
14.
appreciate all you're saying.
14.
14.
Gen
Yeah.
Alpha's the
14.
oldest is 14.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably that type of meme. Man.
Yeah. Ruin your night and look it up.
I was wondering what skibbity toilet was. I was like, I have no idea what he's saying, but I'll just agree.
It's a thing. Like, I mean, the things that our generation put up with, I'm sure would look like appalling or just absolutely asinine to people.
We'll be
us, so.
we'll be reviewing that in the after show.
Yeah, that'll be our next YouTube series, reviewing Skibbity Toilet. All right. Luke,
Thanks,
appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for the chat. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Great. We'll see you in the after show, maybe. Hopefully.
All right, have a good one.
All right.
Thanks.
See ya. All right. This was a fun one, David. This was a fun one. I like
I
this
like
one.
the server. It's a neat group of people who come through here, and I'm sure there's plenty more.
Seems like lots of different people too.
Yeah.
Lots of different people. Different perspectives, different things they want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. Well, new server, new name. What's not to like today? What's not to like? All right.
Right on.
Well, you got anything left to say before the stream ends?
You guys, I'm trying to go as viral as Skibbity Toilet, so go check out my YouTube and comment on my video of this, even if it's just talking trash, I'll take it. And Pierce is fantastic for basically doing all the legwork and all this. He helped set up getting us on the server. He's making sure the YouTube runs through. He's hosting the after party on his server, which is great because just wanted to let you know, check out Pierce, great guy, and we'll be doing this on probably a different server next week. Maybe the server, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we've been rotating between this and a few others, and you can always catch us on YouTube every Friday around the same time.
Yeah, almost every Friday we'll probably be here.
Yeah.
You know, unless things happen, you know, life happens. Yeah. But yeah, we'll be here. Catch us same time next week. Maybe a different server, but you can find it on YouTube, you know. Just subscribe to us, and then there's really not a problem, you know.
That's how you
that's
solve
real. But with that being said, I gotta say the catchphrase, David. Gotta say it.
Do it. You always.
You're so. I gotta find the outro. There we go.